Well, thank you very, very much, Mr. Prager, for this impressive presentation of a field, scientific field, which is really new to me. And I thank you very much that you answered as well my provocative questions as well, and you did integrate them in your talk. Now, any questions or remarks from the audience, please?
I didn't quite understand how to put together the logarithms for the confidence levels. Like the logarithms, these mathematical equations, like this factor multiplied with that. Like, how did you put that together? Yeah.
This was a long way of discussing it, because we were checking the literature and saying, why is the reading of David Stewart's of this sign so secured? Why is it so confident? And then we checked all the arguments, saying, okay, there is a phonetic substitution. Here is a partly phonetic substitution. So it's just experience from the literature, and putting it into not algorithm. It's a Aussagelogik. It's a logic of statement. It's nothing automatically calculated it was not put together automatically, but it's part of a scientific discussion. How confident is a decipherment? So, but it still has some problems. For example, we had the last case where we worked with a very secure decipherment, and then we all marked the specific features, and then it automatically became number 3, which is not possible. So you always have to figure out and see what's the problem right now in there. So it's here.
Yeah, so regarding Unicode, I would very much want to encourage you to get in contact with the Unicode people, because you should have the encodings in Unicode as soon as possible and not at the end of your project. And there is apparently already a roadmap where at least there are ideas of putting Maya characters into that. And I think you should participate in this project process. And also about Unicode, you were inventing this system of these part thingies. This is already partially in Unicode for Chinese characters that you can have this. Have you coordinated your inventive or your version with this?
We have not completely. We have checked it with other systematizations. For example, in Egypt, hieroglyphic writing, but we haven't checked it with the Chinese characters, I must say. We were cooperating with a project in Mainz, who's creating a hieratic sign list, and they face similar problems in creating a sign list, have right now a discussion about using abstract signs or the Unicode signs instead of the original spelling. Right now, what I can show you right now is, because in the database, of course, we have a typical representation of the sign. And we started to create this Unicode kind of Maya characters, because we were just saying they are representing the most known diagnostic elements of the signs. But the thing is, this is not reflecting the Maya script. For example, in the 2nd century AD, which is completely different. And the thing is, if you want to do, for example, paleographic studies, it's of course important to use the original image and so on. But I agree, since we already started right now to make these drawings here for the sign catalog, which is just we originally thought it's a reference sign that we are using just to show the people that the sign looks like this, but it has become some kind of Unicode characterized. So it's all available in SVG, and it's drawn with Corel Draw on different layers. For example, as you can see, this is a typical Unicode thing that you combine elements that are already existing. So, but it's in our project, it was not defined. We cannot really invest so much time into Unicoding. This would be on our only contribution for Unicodes, because we anyway have to draw one single sign for the sign catalog. But I know that it takes a long time and a long discussion in the Unicode. I'm participating a bit in the Egypt Hieroglyphic Unicode community, and they are discussing right now what is the best representation of a graph. If you're using, for example, the Hieroglyphica with 4,000 different signs that include many variants, it's always difficult. As we don't have right now the manpower, and this would be something for an project, which we are really thinking about, because we are still working with our partners in Göttingen for the next 3 years, and then we want to cooperate further, and maybe this is something for a future project.
For a joint research relation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, I know I know the point. In the beginning, I was really against, because we don't have the manpower to do it. But right now, we're anyway creating font-like elements which are not representing Maya writing in that complete way. So, but I agree, we anyway could bring this to this discussion at the Unicode gremium.
So I was wondering, so you were saying that all these something like 60% is deciphered. So, and I was wondering, in your abstract you write that there are nowadays 30 Maya languages. So is it actually, do all these Mayan texts in this one writing system actually refer to a reasonably, in a reasonable sense, to the same language?
They mainly refer to 6 of the modern Mayan languages, from the Chol languages. It's on Chol and Yucatecan languages. They are not referring to Highland Mayan languages. And a colleague of us, Albert Davlecin, who's going to work in the project next year for us, has argued that classic Mayan is a dead language, but many traces of that dead language can be found in colonial and modern Cholan, Choti Mayan language. Even the grammar and the lexicon has survived in many parts. But we have many cases where we can read the inscription, translate the text, but we don't find any corresponding word in a modern or colonial dictionary. So the cultural vocabulary is very often lost. So what we can do is right now, we have to compare all the texts that have this specific inscription. Then we see, has it something to do with the text carrier, with the context and so on. We just can say, sometimes we just have semantic approaching semantically a linguistic reading, and meaning 60%. So if I'm writing that 60% means that 60% of the signs have a secured confidence level 1 decipherment, and we understand the Maya inscriptions semantically 100%. We know what's written there. We just say We know that this has to be a personal name, but we cannot read the details. So this is always the problem. And for this, you need a digital corpus to bring to create a concordance of all the inscriptions from all the texts, to see all the different spellings. And especially in that case, if you cannot read an inscription completely, you need, of course, come back to the original text. And that's the reason why we are using TextGrid text image link editor, allowing us from a search from the specific word and showing us the original spelling, which is important for undeciphered signs, which sometimes can transpose the single signs. So that's the main problem. That's the reason why we need to have information the image of the original spelling. And this makes a difference to other writing systems that can easily handle Unicode representations of the sign, because if you don't want to work paleographically, you don't need the original spellings. But in this case, we need it because we need to check the original. We need to see the original writing. But lastly, I think the Unicode lastly will happen somewhere.
I'm interested in the way you use this TextGrid editor. You'll probably go back to the slide where you showed this piece of TI encoding. And repeat again what you said about the parts you mark on the image are cropped out. And also from the beginning you said like it's important how large the signs are in relation to other signs. And, do you encode it here in TI in percentage in relation to what, or would you rather do a bit more on how to use the editor and what you encode there in TI?
When we designed the project, we wanted originally to measure the signs. But this is really difficult because usually you don't have the original size of the drawing in order to calculate it automatically. But what you can do if you mark it here in this Fläche, in this surface here, you have an automatically you can compare it to the other the content of this surface with the other content. For example, but what we will encode is for example color information, because many signs have sometimes color information, calendaric information, and what we really just started about thinking, how do we bring the block into TI, and we just started 1 week ago in that because it took us right now quite a long time to develop the metadata schema for the object description and right now the sign catalog, and right now we combined the sign catalog with TextGrid, and in between we are adding a new tool that we are developing with linguists from Hamburg, which is called Traces tool. It's designed for old Ethiopic Ge'ez writing, and which has the very same problem that grammatical or lexicographic information are dispersed on several layers, on several parts of the syllabic signs. And this tool allows, it's an output in JSON, it allows to add innumerable number of levels for linguistic description, for linguistic decipherment, for reading and so on. And this will be connected to this to the XML description, because the basis for the description for the translating the text is to put them in the TI, and in the TI the signs are just encoded with numbers, with the sign numbers from the catalog. This will be the stable basis for the linguistic analysis, and this of course has to be then there mustn't be any change in that level. You can make change in the level of the linguistic annotations. for example, if you have new decipherments. But we had a long discussion working here already with the transliteration, or just working with the sign codes. And we decided that we were, in that portion, the sign code will be the thing that will be in the TI element, and the TI text will be put into the traces tool, and on that level all the transliteration will be done in the first step automatically, because we assign specific readings to the graphs and to the signs, and this will be done automatically. And then we can change on a level. For example, when you have a transposition, then you have a new level, then you change it at a new level that it's not UKB, but it's QB, for example. So it's important that you can play with glyphs here. Really, it's still play and try and error. But one element needs to be stable. It's the element of the description. So the description is done on the level of the sign numbers with reference to the original text. So, and of course, we discussed this in Bonn last year, that many elements of Epidoc can be used. For example, then here, for example, we get you can describe, for example, this is a text box, this is a rectangular text box, this is a smaller text block, it's the surface. Many elements for TI Epidoc elements can be used and will be used just to describe the text carrier, the text, not content, but the shape of and so on. And the same is with the text fields, readable, unreadable text field. And this is the part where Epidoc and TI can be used without any problems. And even the Leiden system will be applied in order to describe these empty fields. Because in Mayan studies, this is something that has not been done systematically, using conventions. We are introducing new conventions, but not really new ones. We're using them from other epigraphies. So, yeah.
Another question on the control vocabulary. You said that you took, for example, the Getty vocabulary, and you said something like, and we can add to it. Did you want to say that you took the data from them and then you made your private vocabulary and added it there, or do you also add it back to the Getty vocabulary?
Yeah, we add back. We have an account, but everybody can get an account from Getty right now. It's not a secret anymore. It's just, for example, what we are doing is right now the list of Mayan sites. We're putting them into Getty. It takes them really a long time to prove it, but it works. It's something where it's already eingespeist, implemented there. So this works, and this is something very useful.
Further questions at this moment? If not, I would say, because I have some questions, but I will address them to you in a private area, in a private use area, filled with wine and refreshments. I thank you very much for attending this seminar lecture, which was, in my opinion, very, very interesting. We are here at the last seminar of this year, 2016. 2016 has been a horrific year, not for the Digital Classicist seminar, but for everything else. We will start next year on the 10th of January with a presentation of Wolfgang Schmiedle, who is as well under us, with us, called Chronontology, a time gazetteer with principles. I wonder what will be behind these titles, and I will surely attend this lecture because I'm interested as well in time disappears. Now for this year, I thank you very much for attending this seminar. I wish you a very pleasant and peaceful Christmas time, and we will see each other next year or in 1 minute at the